Good morning, homeschool mamas. Welcome to March 1st. This is probably the beginning of the end of the slump month. Gotta hope, or it's kind of right in the middle of slump month. So March 1st, I hope it doesn't prove out to be as challenging of a month as it was last year. Hi. But I will tell you that I had a whole new appreciation last week for slump month, or how to unslump the slump month. I have a 5-day challenge that I just released, and on the very same day I had a new appreciation for unslumping the slump month, because apparently I can no longer walk downstairs without lights, and I am presently on crutches and haven't been able to do much this past weekend. So this was a great way to do a staycation, but how long do we do staycation? Truth is, for this last year I've been very busy, and I haven't actually taken quiet time, and I haven't taken quiet spaces to do things for me. And this weekend definitely forced me to do it. And shout out to my family, who has been incredible. They have just responded to my every need. And I just gotta say, where have you been all my life? Pulled ligament. Okay, no, that's not why I'm homeschooling. No, it's fine, I'm good, right? Yeah, so it was painful for the last few days, and I kind of feel nauseated still from the amount of Advil that I've been taking, but it's all good. It'll go away. It's just a matter of time till I adjust. And this weekend, I did unslump the slump month for me by actually doing something that had more to do with me and less about trying to do things for other people, which is my default setting. So what did I practically do this weekend? Well, you can see behind me, it's no longer homeschooling. Right now it's kind of full-on greenhouse. I actually own a greenhouse that's attached to the house. And I can't walk there right now. So I'm just putting everything on this table. I'm gonna start the light when these seedlings actually start to rise. And I'm also, so I'm finally getting to my seedlings. I've been very busy doing, writing related stuff. And then let's see what else I was doing. I'm planning for goats this summer. I've been talking about this for as long as we moved to this homestead. And I think I finally am getting a concrete plan what I should be doing for goat breeds, and building a fence and actually building a shelter. That's something that I'm for sure gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna do Nubians because they're kind of noisy, and my neighbors don't already appreciate my Great Pyrenees, who is in the room, by the way. And if you know what Great Pyrenees are like, they have very loud barks. So if for some reason I have to say to some kiddo to please take her out, she's gonna be really loud. But usually when she's in the room with me, she's quiet, so go figure. So that's the other discussion point that my son and I had this weekend was, should we breed her? And I'm kind of on the fence about this. I think it's an amazing homeschool project to breed a dog. I think it would be super cool. I already have a labor and delivery background, so I'm not afraid of delivering something. My husband delivered babies for years, human babies. And I think that'll be a cool thing. My son is totally up for it. He's willing to put in the work to help build the goat shelter. That would also be a place where she would probably deliver her babies. But breeding a dog, I'm not sure that I can buy into that, because these kinds of dogs are really challenging. As one of my friends said this weekend, not any Joe Blow can handle this kind of dog, and they don't know what they're getting into when they get this kind of a dog. It's a large guardian dog. And though I think that is an amazing homeschool project, I also think that not everybody wants to have a large guardian dog, and they often end up in shelters. So I'm not sure that that's a really brilliant idea at the end of all this. But that's what I've been doing for the weekend. So that's been my weekend, is really doing anything that isn't writing. I haven't been doing anything homeschool coaching. I haven't been cooking. I haven't been walking, kind of missing walking. But I have a new appreciation even for my own Unslump the Slump Month challenge, because I'm like, okay, so this 5-day challenge is intended to encourage, to inspire you to get through the next few months of homeschooling, because the slump month thing is a thing every year. This year it's unique because it seems like it's not just a slump month, it feels like it's a slump year. It's been long, hasn't it? Really long. And this time of year just makes it feel even more dark and more dreary and, all the feelings. So that was my intention, is to encourage you. And the wild thing is that I'm looking at me going, okay, now I'm slumped. So how do I frame this? And my framing is, it's temporary, I hope. It's temporary. I'm not going to have a pulled ligament forever, right? No, I'm not. I will soon be doing a marathon. After this, I might be motivated. I won't. But I will be walking my dog for an hour or two every day like I was before. And I really look forward to walking again. So that is what I've been doing over the weekend. That is the reason why the Slump Month is, or the Unslump the Slump Month 5-day challenge is really important. I think right now it's for reasons that this is getting to be kind of one of those times of years that's kind of getting boring. And so I was going to share with you that I'm going to record a podcast today that includes a discussion on some of the Slump Month challenge content, but it also talks about morning routines. And I got the most hilarious feedback about morning routines last week, and I feel ya, girlfriend. You said, I can't do a morning routine before my kids are awake. Like, my kids are always awake before me. And thank you for reminding me of that. I have older kids, so I forget what it's like to have these littles around me all the time that are at my bed before I'm even awake. That has definitely happened. And the truth is, I recommend doing a morning routine for your benefit. It means that you're getting some mental space that's yours alone. You don't have to spend all that time. You can just think your own thoughts for a few minutes before your kids come. And I also know that what I'm saying is difficult with little kids, but also kind of necessary. And I know that I didn't follow through with it all the time. If my oldest daughter could hear me talk about this right now, she would laugh. Because she said, Mom, there were times where I would have to wake you up and go, Mom, it's time to have breakfast. Let's do studies together. So it's not like I was consistent with this either. I get it. This is what happens when you have younger kids. You're tired. But if you can work towards creating a morning routine so that you have time separate, it really does help you to move into your day with a little quietness, I guess, in your spirit, or just a sense of clarity of what am I going to do for the rest of the day. And you know how to, you just collected yourself before you're collecting your children. So that's what I would plan, or that's part of what I'm planning to chat about in the podcast recording. But my son and I started a new book, The Desperate Journey. This is an old book. It's about a couple of kids who are in Scotland, their experience of what it's like in Scotland and moving to Canada. And when I was my son's age, 12, I had no interest in historical fiction, but as a homeschool mom, I've really benefited from a whole lot of reading, In fact, I have so many books. I had one of my girls reorganize my bookshelves because I have like a full lending library, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with all these extra books. Should I do it as a giveaway? Should I just wait till the grandkids come? Should I donate it to the library? I've got so many books, and 4 kids have read through them. I've read through them. I've been really benefited by it, but it's been a lot. So, FYI, I'm planning to do a book club. You can join that book club by coming over to the Facebook support group, Homeschool Mama Support Group, and there you'll find out the date and time of a monthly book club. And the intention is to both include a book that we're reading with our kids, or to share with each other a book that we're reading with the kids, a book that we're reading on our own that we find inspirational or encouraging, and maybe just a fun book that we can do together. And I got a lot of ideas about that. I like podcasts myself, surprise, as I also happen to record a podcast, but I really love listening to podcasts. So if you also want to be able to bring your favorite podcast to the group and share that podcast, I think that would be fun. And of course, homeschool encouraging books as well, because I'm seeing all sorts of great books coming out these days. So this week in my homeschool, I don't usually share the behind the scenes stuff. I don't usually share what I'm doing. How crazy is that? I am an actual homeschool mom that has been homeschooling for 15 years. My oldest daughter's she's no longer at home. My second daughter is leaving home this year, and she is just starting an essay, expository essay class with Brave Writer today. I have my 15-year-old happens to be at home, even though she is in, hi Rachel, happens to be in public school, and so I'm going to ask her, well-timed, if you would like to join an astronomy webinar about seeing stars on Wednesday afternoon. Very cool. This is a free thing. If anybody's interested, I can send you the links. But there's a group that does astronomy teaching across Canada, I think maybe into the States, but it's available for anybody, but it's really useful as a homeschool family to have a connection like that. And we're planning our 100-day party, which my son says is like 185-day party or something. We've definitely put it off. And so my intention behind that is to create a Valentine's brunch. Okay, it's long past Valentine's, but I had this YouTube video on Valentine's food, and it looks so good that I thought, I want to do this. So when do I do this? I think that's going to be Thursday. The intention is to create a brunch together and to do a bunch of 100-day party activities, like comparing 100 drops of water, or how do I say this? We have a few different jars filled with different levels of water. We have to guess which one has the 100 drops in it. We have that one. We also have jars of candy, and some of them have 100 candies in them. Or we could play the M&M grammar game. M&M grammar game I think is super fun, partly because I love M&Ms, partly because it just encourages awareness of different grammatical parts of the sentence. And marshmallow constellations, or grape skewer constellations, or we could create marshmallow and Twizzlers genetic strands. I love doing this one. This one's probably not my kid's favorite, but it's the one that I love the most, is writing down 100 things that we've learned in the last number of months. I find that fascinating, partly because it's just a great memory to keep and to be able to look back, but also because it helps us as moms understand our kids, like what they value and what they're actually really keeping in their minds, what they remember in their studies or in their pursuits or their curiosities. So that's what we're doing this week, and yeah, I love that one too. I've also got, if you haven't seen Dr. Daniel Amen's webinar, he is about to release a book, and he is an inspiration for my book, Homeschool Mama Self-Care, Nurturing the Nurturer. I attended a webinar of his once upon a time about how to frame your thoughts, and I lace that concept through my book all the way through, discussing all the uncomfortable feelings that we homeschool mamas can have, like overwhelm and doubt and anger and loneliness and not feeling good enough, and all the homeschool mom feels. I lace his concepts from Daniel Amen's book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, in my book. And he is offering a seminar, a free seminar, March 2nd. So that's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can find it on Instagram. And I'm recommending it because I think this guy is brilliant, and the way he approaches things and frames things is really useful for us homeschool moms. So it's a free seminar. He's going to promote his new book, of course, but he's also giving you a lot of content, free content, as to how to approach or frame your thoughts. Useful. There's other things that I'm doing, like a podcast virtual summit and a Pinterest summit, and things that are more related to how to present here. But the thing that I want to invite you to is a free webinar that I'm doing on Wednesday, so 2 days from now, at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll be at the Homeschool Mama Support Group on Facebook. That means you need to go on Facebook. That means you need to attach yourself to my page, Homeschool Mama Self-Care, and request to be part of the group. There's 3 questions to answer. That's all. It's really just, there's a reason for the questions. First, I want to know you're actually a homeschool mom, because if you do this kind of online stuff long enough, you realize there's a lot of people that connect that have absolutely nothing to do with whatever you're discussing, like homeschooling. So partly because I want to know that you're homeschooling, partly because my intentions for the group is to know for sure that we're all intending to encourage and support each other, and that it's not just like an opinion-based thing. It's not just like, I want to tell you that you're doing it the wrong way or you need to do it this way. I want us to actually really encourage each other in how we're doing things. And so I ask you 3 questions, and if you answer those 3 questions, then I will include you in the group, and I will give you a personal invitation to a special Facebook page where we are going to create a room just for this webinar. What's the webinar on? 2 things. One is really challenging for me to this day as a homeschool parent, and the other one I've got. So the one I find the most challenging is handling big emotions during your homeschool day. Can I hear an amen? Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. And even the other day when I was interviewing Judy Arnell on Instagram Live, and all of those mentor live series are still available on Instagram. You can see it on my IGTV. But I'm interviewing her, and she asked me, so you're still in the thick of it. Are you still finding that this is the hardest part, is the fighting? And I'm like, yes, 100%, absolutely. Hardest part. So, and it still is, and my kids know it, and I know it, and I think every homeschool mom knows it, whether they want to say it or not, because we love homeschooling, we love the freedom it brings in so many different ways, but that is by far the most challenging part of homeschooling, is having to deal with conflict or complaining, or you fill in the blank. So I have a framework that I'm going to share with you, and let's discuss it. Let's talk about how to handle big emotions during your homeschool day. Really, it's like counseling 101, don't you think? Counseling 101 for a parent. And if there were any other skill that parents might learn before we begin this parenting trek, it would be this one: how to kindly, authentically, diplomatically deal with people. But if you're like me and you actually had to learn this right as you were homeschooling, right as you were parenting, well, let's chat. Let's chat about what the framework is to actually enable those kinds of connections in our homeschool. It's really tough work trying to figure out how to coexist together in the same world with the other people that you love deeply, but also there's moments, right, that you're like, please stop, please stop. Those days. Okay, so we weren't put in this world alone, so we better figure out how to empathetically engage in our social sphere, but especially as homeschool moms, gotta say, this is the hardest thing, is being a homeschool mom and dealing with all of this stuff. And yet, it is also an opportunity to grow in all of this stuff, because those little ones, they are cute, and we get to learn alongside them, and we get to experience family life in a really rich way, but there are many mirrors, and whatever we are challenged by is usually a reflection of something that needs to be worked out or dealt with in here. And this is a framework for us to help them deal with their big emotions, with us dealing with their big emotions, and how to do that all. So if you have questions or thoughts or discussions, or have a tangible scenario that you want to share, I am going to spend half the time in that webinar chatting about that. And the other half of the time, I'm going to be talking about engaging learning outside of lesson plans. What does that mean? Well, let's chat. I can give you one idea of what that could mean. I always think that the baseline of a really great home education is the actual child in front of you. That's the easiest way too, by the way, to create an education. It's the most fun way to create an education. It will expand your horizons because you'll be going into interests or areas that you didn't even think that you'd be going into. And if I pulled out this one topic in my book about how to look at their interests and consider their interests and include those interests in your homeschool, in the education for your child. And funny enough, it was an interest that I don't remember any of my kids having, so I'm not sure why I pulled that one out. But I'll share just a little bit. It's about dinosaurs. So perhaps he likes dinosaurs. Funny enough, he, my only son, who's 12 now, has never shown interest in dinosaurs. Could he learn to add plastic dinosaurs or subtract them? Could he learn to read in dinosaur books? Does he like to draw dinosaurs, watch documentaries about dinosaurs, or create dinosaur dioramas? Does he can you recognize his interest and incorporate that into his reading, his writing, his arithmetic, his science, his history? You'll see he's actually getting a really thorough education if you can expand his interest, which, by the way, might right now be, for my son, Roblox, or he's interested in ancient Egypt. So I'm doing I'm going to phone the library today and ask them to do a research or gathering of a bunch of books for my my reader, my 12-year-old son, who is actually a prolific reader. Something that has pictures still, though, and suits a 12-year-old's sensibilities, so that he can learn more about ancient Egyptian history. Now, what can you do with that? How can you build a lesson, or how can you build a week's worth of learning out of one topic? And so I go into discussions about that. So if it was dinosaurs, you could include your interests also. You could be making maybe salty pretzel dough and shaping it into dinosaur shapes. Do you like writing? You could write a dinosaur newsletter to inform the next prehistoric period that the end is nigh. This is an opportunity for you to get on Microsoft Word or some sort of word processing program that actually can be a learning opportunity in itself. How do you create a publishing how do you publish a newsletter on that? Kids love that stuff. Or they could do a presentation on Canva or PowerPoint, or figure out those programs as well. This is super fun, and as you can see, a marketable skill for their future. You are familiar with unit studies? Let me know if you're not, but you can literally find any topic whatsoever. Google anything or go on Pinterest and find all sorts of activities, whether it is any of those school subjects. And I don't recommend that you choose to think in school subjects, but I know that most of us think through school subjects because we were trained in a conventional school, and a conventional education is how we think. So we learn how an education is based on including math and writing and spelling and science and history and all that. So if you think through an educational grid like that, you'll be surprised. You'll be amazed at what kind of learning opportunities you can create with your kids' specific interest. You keep their attention longer, for sure. You'll feel more engaged in it yourself. It'll be a memory that you actually build, and you'll be amazed actually to find out that they could, on that 100-day party, share a whole bunch of content from that learning day just because they really enjoyed that. So I'm going to talk to you about how to use your specific kids' interests in learning and creating learning opportunities without the lesson plans. So that's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook, the Homeschool Mama Support Group. So jump on over there if you would like to join me there. Let's see what else I was going to share with you. Maybe that's it. Yes, I'm going to do that for the next 4 weeks. That's what I'm going to say. It'll be a free webinar the next 4 weeks for an hour chat. This week it'll be child-directed learning, essentially, or learning without lesson plans, and also handling big emotions. And then the next 3 weeks, I'm going to take a poll on what the most important topics are for you, and then we're going to discuss those for the next 3 weeks. So if you're interested in something like that, jump on there. What else to tell you other than I think I'm going to go find another spot to sit and continue to develop my bed sores? I'll be fine. But I hope that you can have a good week. we are going to make it out of the slump month. Go check out the Unslump the Slump Month Challenge if you're looking for more encouragement, and let me know who you are and what you're interested in chatting about in these free 1-hour webinars on Wednesday afternoons. So I hope you and your kids have a charmed week. But if you don't have a charmed week and it's a challenging week, then I pray that you can turn all your challenges into your charms. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye.